Time for us to delve into the papers. We've got a few of them today, and of course, ta-da!
I like the way you look today, like you're looking,
thank
I like is the yellow gold? It's making you
yes,
really
the tie
bright.
is gold, yes. Is it stinging your eyes? I apologize.
No, it's actually perfect.
Oh, you're kind.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, you look absolutely classy. That's no news whatsoever. How are you doing?
I'm well. It's just the news of the Amory depot at Michelle Camp that got me really, really worried.
There are so many ways in which that could have turned out a lot worse than it did. It's bad enough. It's bad enough.
True.
But it could have been a great deal worse. The thing about armories is that there are boxes and boxes of bullets, and bullets respond to heat the same way they respond to being fired out of a gun. So those bullets could have actually been flying around to distances of 400, 500 meters and injuring innocent people. That is if, the fire had got to them. But it appears they got it under control before that happened.
There's a nursing mother, who was afraid for her life, also the life of the baby. But we also heard that neighbors were moving out at that late hour,
Scary.
Very. Okay, but there are a lot of things happening elsewhere that will touch base. There's Laurent Gbagbo, who is free.
Yeah.
There's that attack in Kenya as well, which is still brewing, if you like. Yeah. And then there's your Theresa May, who faces a vote of no confidence today.
Taking custody of Theresa May.
So we will touch base with all these international stories when we get there, but we've got to first do the newspaper. So let's start from home.
All right. Well, we've got a few of them today. The Finder is out. The Dispatch is out. Today, newspaper is out as well. Daily Guide, Ghanaian Times, and the Daily Graphic. I know you have a bit of a thing for the graphic, so let me slide that towards you. Which other ones do you have a taste for this morning?
Oh, the Finder.
The Finder. Hey.
It's not personal. It's not personal.
Any others?
No, I mean, I could do all the papers, but
you could.
I choose to give you the bigger portion. So shall I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. The Daily Graphic newspaper, front page of the Graphic, set up commission of inquiry into Ga chieftaincy affairs. No register for tin. I want lawyer from ICC, suspected MP killer tells courts. Menzgold's accounts frozen. Customers ask government to take over offices. Back page of the paper, Forestry Commission seizes 3,000 chainsaw machines at Goso. 23 illegal operators jailed, fined. ECG installs prepaid meters for customers in Western region. Center spread of the paper, Unilever Ghana commissions 3 new plants. Year of return, Ghana to attract 500,000 diasporan Africans. Also another story in the center spread of the Graphic.
Year of return. Is somebody actually coordinating this, or is this just some
I want to believe so. I haven't read the story.
Okay. Right, Ghanaian Times has these. Banner headline, President woos multinational firms to bring manufacturing operations to Ghana. Also, on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, more sub-chiefs and mourners arrive for Yana and Danny's funeral. Also, bank accounts of Menzgold boss frozen by Iyoko. I read that as a sad story, I've got to tell you. It's not great, it's not good news or a wonderful development, if you ask me. It's a sad story.
It's like, good luck, you think you would find something?
But there is an even more sad story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. You might not get what I mean when I first read it, but I'll explain later in the review. Okay. So this is the headline. Police obtain fingerprints of assailant of public affairs manager of Tema Port. That ought to be good news, right?
Yeah, but what are you matching it with?
Well, we'll get to that later. Also on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Cocoa Processing Company Board inaugurated, and NC inaugurates 6 ad hoc communities. What are you matching it with, indeed? All right, Daily Guide. Iyoko freezes Menzgold accounts in 3 banks. Witness identifies Major Mahama attackers. Ooh, there was a witness to the attack? Okay. Akufo-Addo commissions 3 factories. And also Laurent Gbagbo set free. I wonder if he's already called an Uber. Also, Mahama diabolics exposed, according to the Daily Guide. On the back page, good story for Ghana. That is in reference to the multipurpose sports complex. No room for complacency, Kotoko's goalkeeper says. And GTF introduces TPC to GOC. Somebody was having fun in the editor's department of the Daily Guide. GTF introduces TPC to GOC. Which of these 3 do you recognize?
GOC is which one?
Hi, DK. OMG.
More confusion.
TTYL.
Well, but there's also the normalization committee that has introduced quite a number of committees, ad hoc committees. Yeah. I'm not sure. No, that's not it.
Nope.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, they say GTF, and they kind of expect you to understand what they are talking about.
Oh, what it means is read the story, you would know it.
But you should. The headline should be my reason to read the story. You want to know, you can't wait.
Oh, it's Ghana Taekwondo Federation.
I was going to keep everybody in suspense so they go and buy the newspaper. Anyway, the Today newspaper has the following headlines. On the front page, the banner headline is CJ to close down courts. There's something about this that I quite like, but we'll talk about that later. Mahama endorses vigilante group. Oh. Tension in Kaswa, Iron City. And forget about Liverpool, focus on City. Okay, Pep Guardiola. Guardiola is telling Man City players to forget about Liverpool and focus on City. Djokovic begins 7th title bid. Kwame Kizito to rejoin Hearts. These are the headlines on the back page of the Today. And I'll end with the Daily Dispatch. Mama, you give me work. All right, so Akufo-Addo had 49.13% but lost runoff to Mills in 2008. Incumbents lose runoff elections in Ghana. And this is what the Daily Dispatch reports based on one instance. Okay, how many runoffs have we had? 2?
Maybe?
2, I
Not
recall.
sure.
And I guess the incumbent did lose in each one. I think so. Okay, so maybe he has 2. Right. My dad stole from only rich whites. Do not compare him to number 1. Guess who's talking? Blemieza's daughter. Blemieza is a legendary con man.
I heard.
Yes. I mean, look, we need to learn lessons from people like this, and you know, safeguard our assets better. Someone should make a movie of Blemieza's life. I mean, the stories, the anecdotes, there are so many. I'll tell you one in a minute. My favorite Blemieza story. All right, housing in Accra, Cape Coast and Tema is another headline. I don't know what the problem is about housing in Accra, Cape Coast and Tema, but you can read all about it in the Daily Dispatch. And on the back page, Namwan's accounts frozen. Yoko. All right then, so
let's finish off with the Finder. Got the Finder newspaper front page. Extra classes galore. SHS2 students pay between 150 and 500 Ghana cedis. Auction of Menzgold properties suspended. Supreme Court dismisses Avoca's reinstatement requests. First Lady partners Merck Foundation on infertility stigma campaign. Agenda for private sector-led growth on course, according to the presidents. By way of headlines, that's what we have. The Finder newspaper on the front page.
Right then.
Time to dig in?
So, yes, why don't we do that? Where do you want to start?
I'm not sure.
Shall I go with the Ghanaian Times? 2 stories here on the front page that are of interest to me. Let's make it 3, one of them very briefly. The president woos multinational firms to bring manufacturing operations to Ghana. This one, briefly, what I want to say about it is that I've noticed that one area of government activity that perhaps we don't probe as well as we do others is the influx of investments into Ghana. I don't think as a fourth estate we give enough information to the public about investments that are coming in, because it is also another area where accountability is needed. You know, we need to understand. So when the president traveled to this country and he had these meetings, how many of those meetings yielded, you know, investments, and how many of those, and how much is the value of these investments, and where were these investments directed, and who managed those investments, and, you know, have we accounted for every penny? Are the investors happy with their investments?
What's your suspicion?
Oh no, I'm not saying this because I have a suspicion. I'm just saying this because we don't have information.
Okay.
And I think we should.
Isn't it also more because most of these privates, because, you know, we're doing a lot more PPP?
Yeah, so which ones are PPP? That's the question. That's a question in itself. And when you say PPP, is it an actual private company that already exists? Or is it a special purpose vehicle that government somehow sees to its creation in order to suck up this investment? Or does somebody in government set up a company and then the investments go to them? You know, so there is a whole area
Maybe we
of
are
activity.
not asking the question.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That I think the media needs to cast an eye on that aspect of governance as well, so that we can have some accountability. For all you know, there may be some great stories to tell about how investment has come in and done some wonderful things for our economy, for our country, for our, you know, for our industry. So we need to pay some attention there and see what we can learn. Okay, that was a brief one. Bank accounts of Menzgold boss frozen by Yoko. I'll save that for last. Police obtained fingerprints of assailants of Public Affairs Manager of Tema Port. And Mama V, you said it so beautifully. So now they will compare those fingerprints.
Okay,
to what?
so maybe they're telling you in the story. Or
page
maybe,
17.
Maybe they're telling you in the story.
You see, I mean, before I...
They won't perhaps say that when they don't have any database where they're going to do that comparison.
Before I even read the story, I can tell you that the police has been seeking to build a database, a fingerprint database.
Correct.
Now, the way they've been seeking to build it is through fingerprints that they collect when they arrest people. That's how it's done in every part of the world. But we also have other sources of data on people's fingerprints. SNIT collects fingerprints. National Identification Authority collects fingerprints. In fact, all kinds of... the NHIS collects fingerprints.
There's also the passport?
Passport Office collects fingerprints. The DVLA collects fingerprints. And you see, the list grows, okay? You find that there are even some political parties, NDC, NPP, that collect fingerprints. Churches, I've been to a church
in
where
Ghana,
they did a biometric exercise.
For church
biometric
members.
Identification exercise. Now you see, there's a problem with all this. The law states that only one institution is mandated to collect, store, and process biometric data. That organization is the National Identification Authority. So even SNIT collecting fingerprints is against the law. I mean, this is factual. It's against the law for SNIT to collect your fingerprints.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. It's against the law for SNIT to store your fingerprints. Now, the police obviously have a right to do that in terms because they have their law allows them to properly identify and store information about you know, suspects and so forth for the fight against crime. But you see, if we had streamlined this and one institution had correctly collected all of this information and we had correctly identified all Ghanaians, this would be such a simple process.
Yeah.
You know, so the police would collect fingerprints and they would simply search the one database, the one single database that we have, and correctly identify the owner of these prints. But right now, even churches have collected fingerprints. So what is to say that if somebody wants to frame you, they can't take some sellotape, take your fingerprint, go and place it all over a crime scene, and before you know it, you are spending life in prison.
But I'm wondering, like, why would the church do that?
They wanted to identify their members.
Wow.
They were big. They are big.
Okay.
They
That's
are big,
like
so
an exclusive association or something like that.
Look, it's just that they can do it, so they decided to.
Wow.
Nobody came to them to tell them what you are doing is unlawful.
Yeah.
So they chose to do it. AFLEX. What I say? Oh, but I media me master or mom ba me take data. Untimi better on Jimmy blessing. Untimi Jimmy blessing. You know. So look. The reality is that we have allowed for abuse of something that is so vital, so important. Biometric data, such an important identifier. It should be unique to you. It should be managed by institutions that are equipped to manage it, so that nobody can have access to it that shouldn't have access to it. And it should be a searchable database that only the right authorities have access to. So SNIT, for example, they don't need to collect it too. If NIA has it, SNIT can still use that database. They can still get information that they require about it.
It's just a duplication of, we know where we are. Yeah. But you closed the story.
Oh, I did. You wanted me to read and see what they are going to do with the prints. Police have obtained fingerprints and footprints of suspects, along with sperm from the body of Mrs. Josephine Asante, Marketing and Public Affairs Manager of Tema Port, who was murdered at her home at MF's Hill View near Afienya. They had earlier arrested Christian J, 22, the houseboy of the deceased, as part of the investigation into the matter. Some documents on the investigation cited by Ghanaian Times indicated that the key to the deceased bedroom and the remote control to the main door were found at the entrance to the house close to the boys' quarters. There was a fresh cut on the right eyebrow and a suspected bullet hole at the back of the deceased's head, but no spent shell was found at the scene and no bullet exit at the front portion of the head. The document indicated that Ajay was arrested with 340 Ghana cedis and a wristwatch belonging to the deceased, which the houseboy buried in the ground behind his window at the boys' quarters. Right. Now, the exhibits, the swab of sperm and the wristwatch, were retained as part of the investigation. Ajay allegedly told police that he heard an unusual noise on Saturday night. When he came out, he saw the culprit escaping. All right, I'm still not hearing anything or reading anything about what they would do with the prints to help them identify the person. But of course, one thing they can do with it is eliminate suspects. Yeah. So they can check them against the prints of the house help, for example, or even the woman's son, and so forth. So at least they can eliminate some people with that information. So it's useful, the footprint as well. Although I don't know how that will work. If you obtain fingerprints from the scene and you test them and they belong to the house help, for example, does that mean he killed her? I mean, he's the house help. Well, he's likely to have been in that room to clean on many occasions, and his fingerprints are likely to be there. Well, so same for the son, right?
Yeah. So I mean, so that's why you're also entitled to a defense.
Yes, but
so that you can.
But I mean, the police, if the police decide to focus on the house help as a suspect based on that alone, I mean, let's put aside the fact that they found some money and all of that. That is also worth investigating. He may have stolen it because he's a thief, but not because he's the one who killed the woman. So that's my point. If the police then decide that, okay, because we found his fingerprints, so we have enough evidence against him, and they stop investigating, then potentially, if it isn't him, and if there's a perfectly good reason why his prints are in the room, then the
they have to just go back. They have to go back.
But what will send them back? If they feel they have enough evidence and they go to court and the boy unfortunately doesn't have good legal defense, he might end up in jail for this offense.
Then it means that he's guilty for the offense.
No, it means
not because all the evidence is pointing at him.
But that's my point. Is it really sufficient evidence to say that I went into the room that the house help cleans and I found his fingerprints there?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it will be that simple. I'm sure they will take a lot of things into consideration.
Perhaps
we're told we've got a great investigative team. Yeah. So and once it's murder, it's you have to prove beyond all reasonable doubts that this suspected person actually did the act. Yes. So you have a lot more responsibility, and I'm not sure it will be that easy. If you didn't do it and they're pushing it on you, for them to just get away with it.
We will see how it unfolds, because I've got to say, police officers, like any other, profession, you want to get the job done.
Yeah, but you also want to get the job done well.
Do you? Do they?
Because, you know, how many times have they not been to court and...
Look,
and
even in developed, and this is not a Ghanaian problem, even in developed countries where police have the benefit of all sorts of technology and equipment, they very often pick the suspect who they believe they can make the easiest case against. Because the prosecutors, they also are judged based on their win rate. So if they think that they think that this case, I can win it easily. Because, you know, the
I have a
evidence...
belief that you can't just look at it and say you can win this easily. It's tough to prove that somebody actually killed someone.
A virtuous woman, you know, who likes to play things by the book.
I want to look at the facts, and I want to look at the, you know, Okay, so where shall we go again? Let's just...
Or you have something in there?
Yeah, I wanted to do this in the Daily Graphic newspaper, page 20. I want lawyer from ICC suspected MP killer tells court.
That's right.
Daniel Asiedo, the prime suspect in the killing of a former NPP member of parliament for Abuakwa North. JB Danko-Edu has requested the state to engage a lawyer from the International Criminal Court to defend him. Here's what he says: assist me to get a lawyer from the ICC because this is not a small case, he told the Central District Court presided over by Miss Aritz Esemo yesterday. So Asiedu aka Sexy Dondon and the second accused Vincent Bosu aka Junior Gogo were before the court for committal proceedings, which will determine whether or not the state has enough grounds for the two to stand trial at the court. Let's see what the judge said. So before proceedings could commence, Ms. Nsemo asked the accused why they had no lawyer. In spite of the ample time she had given them to engage the services of a lawyer, they answered that they could not get any lawyer, and so the state should assist them with one. Asiedu, however, added, I want a lawyer from the ICC. Please help me get one.
Are there lawyers at the ICC? Like, you know, just lawyers sitting around there who are ICC lawyers? Just waiting for somebody to call on them.
I don't know, but I don't know. This is a isn't this a local case? Isn't this? Anyway,
I think perhaps what he's trying to say is that he would like to take his case to the ICC.
You can't just say you want to take your case to the ICC.
I know. I mean, he would need his lawyer to take his case to the ICC.
You have to absorb what is within your country. I mean, you have to. You don't just jump and go to the ICC. Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so we want to check out what's on my job. No, you want to do Menzgold, right?
I thought we might very quickly. So they've frozen his accounts. But what's in them? What's in these accounts?
I don't know. I mean, my worry is the time that has passed, because we haven't. If this is what we wanted to do, then we could have done this a whole lot easier earlier. I wonder what we will find in those accounts, and they're not even sure. They're not even sure in terms of the company's accounts, where the accounts are. We're now looking really. So I don't know what we will find. Good luck to us.
I feel like I should perhaps take the opportunity to ask a few questions of our law enforcement agencies just to set the record straight. I have a suspicion of something. That's why I'm saying I should ask these questions, okay? Because I think the timeline of activity is strange. We know that the SEC made a report to IOCO, and IOCO started an investigation. That's how come Namwan was placed on bail. This was back in August. Okay, so usually when you're on bail, you're supposed to report quite regularly. Okay, and
it depends on the conditions they give you.
Yes, but those conditions will give you a certain regularity of reporting. Okay, that is, yes, if one of your conditions is that you must report, because I don't think that is an automatic thing. In his case, we have picked up the fact that that was one of his conditions. So when did he stop reporting? That's my first question. When did he stop going? Was it in December, after, you know, he was supposedly arrested? Or did he stop going a bit earlier than that? Secondly, at what point did this warrant for his arrest get issued, and what triggered it? You understand? I have
Well,
a
this is
sneaky...
customers' complaints. This was in the statements.
So when did the customers complain? When? When they were protesting on the streets, stopping cars, burning tires.
No, you needed to go. You needed to go and make a formal complaint before they could look into your issue.
So that's the point I'm making. Had any of them made a formal complaint at that time? Because you see, Bank of Ghana and SEC have been trying to determine whether or not this is a deposit-taking institution, just so that they can claim regulatory authority over them. But not only has Menzgold denied that they are deposit-taking company, their customers have denied it too. Because SEC has tried to engage customers. Bank of Ghana has tried to engage customers. Ask them, look, is this, are you taking deposit? They say, no. No customer has complained that I've sent my deposits to this company and haven't got it back. So I want to know, at what point? Was it just last week that the first official police report was made by a customer?
Those are questions for the CID, I guess. Let's do myjoyonline.com, and hopefully we can share the international stories with you on our page this morning whilst we get that. Okay, yeah, here we go. Number one, extradition should be easy. Entry down, so refuse contra reviews. So, you know, what we have is people talking on the little that we've guarded. Fire explosions hit Michelle Camp Amory. Also on the page this morning.
Yeah, Data Bank denies dealing in gold. Am I the only one who sees the joke here? Data Bank Financial Services has said that, look, these claims are not true. They are not dealing in gold collectibles. They never have, and they never will. First Lady leads campaign to break stigma of infertility. Good job, good job. It's important. A true African patriot is free. Rawlings Lords Gbagbo victory at ICC. Help us end chieftaincy disputes. Ghana Traditional Council pleads with Akufo-Addo. Interesting. PM's Brexit deal rejected by MPs. Ayaka Asamaba. Brexit refuses to exit. Okay, what else have we got? #1 extradition close to impossible. And that is from Gimpa lawyer Justice Rimsai. So you see some conflicting views there from Vladimir Nchidanso, who is, of course, an international relations analyst.
He's talking diplomacy here.
That's right. Now, it's interesting. What do you think? Or do we have to move?
Yeah, I wanted us to just go to the BBC and give you a roundup of some of the things that have unfolded. You know, yesterday, real quick, a lot of things happened. One is Ivory Coast ex-president Gbagbo, who was acquitted at the ICC court in The Hague. Okay, so he had been charged with crimes against humanity, and then, you know, the court decided yesterday that they didn't have a case against him. They couldn't continue the case against him, and so he was acquitted. Lots of jubilations, but there's also another section who are unhappy about this development. Back home, he's got really, you know, solid supports, we're told, from some minority groups in Ivory Coast. We're too familiar with the story. So you can read more about it. Let's quickly do Kenya. Let's quickly talk about Kenya as well. And suspected militants have attacked a luxury hotel complex in Nairobi, killing at least 15 people. The compound in the Westlands districts of the Kenyan capital, which houses a hotel and offices. This is supposed to be, you know, like a first-class area, if you like, was attacked by gunmen on Tuesday. By the evening, officials said the siege was over, but gunfire and explosions were heard early on Wednesday, and a security operation is ongoing. The Somali-based militant group Al-Shabaab said it was behind the attack. So scenes of the attack yesterday all through the nights, and we're told that even on Wednesday morning, still gunshots. So it's not completely over. But this is not the first time that this is happening in Kenya. And some persons have talked about how, security, there's still, this is exactly how it unfolded with the Westgate situation, the mall, and they couldn't believe that this is happening again, which means that they actually don't have control. They seem not to have either learned the lessons or how to counter such attacks.
Or perhaps they became a bit complacent with the passage of time. That also happens sometimes. But I'm so glad that the casualties were not as many as they could have been. Just imagine the chaos, armed men in a public place like that.
Yeah, so what I'm not sure of, because they don't have control exactly of the entire building. We're told that this is a place where there's a hotel and there are offices, and in the neighborhood we've got embassies in the neighborhood as well.
Scary.
So there are people who are still in there, and they don't have. So we don't know if the total casualty number would be 15, as is being reported. But let's finish off real quick with Brexit. It was a big day yesterday evening for Theresa May. It was said that she was going to lose the votes, but except that we didn't know the margin. It was really, really great. Over 400 as against a little over 200. So now we're told she's facing no confidence votes. Today, Theresa May's government faces a vote of no confidence later after MPs rejected the Prime Minister's Brexit deal. Labour launched the bid to trigger a general election after the deal setting out the terms of Britain's exit from the EU was rejected by 230 votes. However, one senior party figure has suggested it is unlikely to succeed, with Northern Ireland's DUP and Tory rebels saying they will back the Prime Minister. So if there's no deal, we know what will happen. It means that they will just have to exit the European Union with no deal.
That is unless somehow they find their way back to another referendum. But that is not desired by many.
Yeah.
Setting aside the cost. It's just the concept of going back to ask the same voters, look, are you sure?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to bode well. But Theresa May is already she's already on shaky ground.
Yeah. So we will monitor how that vote of no confidence goes. Real quick, I've got a very special birthday dedication to Roy Kayson, Kofi Bako. A happy 6th birthday anniversary. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Finish it.
Finish it. No.
So it's on behalf of your dad, obviously, Kofi Bako, Aisha Bako, and your siblings, Princess Fathia Ama Bako and Ken Ramsey Kweku Bako. It's your birthday today, so enjoy it. Roy, Kayson, Kofi Bako. Enjoy your 6th birthday today.
Happy birthday, Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we have to end. It's a Wednesday, so we've got AM Business coming up. It's related to Brexit in a way, so you've got to stay with us. But we've got sports, and the Australian Open is still on. I know you don't want to hear, but Federer is through to the 3rd round.
I don't want to hear then. I'm listening.
And Benedict will come and give us details. Yes, I know Federer is through to the 3rd round. Benedict will give us a lot more details of that. Can I say a quick good morning to Evelyn? Evelyn is with the Black Queens, and I know she's watching somehow. I know you're watching, so good morning to you, Evelyn. I hope you're well. Stay with us. Benedict is right after this.